Hello everyone, my name is Ross and welcome to a complete guide on the European bollards in GeoGuessr. I know, an absolutely riveting subject, but an extremely important one. And the inspiration for this video, I was just sick and tired of losing out on easy wins because I was confusing the bollards in Europe. So what I did is I went over to Plunkett, which is a fantastic tool. I'll link the Plunkett website down below because all of the graphics today come from that. I went over to Plunkett and I just screenshotted all of the bollards from each of the countries in Europe, and I've tried to collate that into a neat presentation so that we can compare some of the similar bollards and hopefully improve our own knowledge. And I know Europe comparatively isn't a massive continent, and often if you just get the general region, that can be enough. But if you are playing no move in particular, or even move, and you come across a bollard, if that can give you the country, that is a massive advantage. Whilst other people are looking at things like vegetation or looking for languages, you can just know immediately off the back of that. So incredibly important. The way that today's video is going to work is it's going to be split into two sections. I'm going to go through this presentation now where we go through each of the country bollards and some of the things that stand out. And for me, like the real bankers that you absolutely need to know. And then the second half of the video is me going and playing GeoGuessr, pointing out the bollards, discussing what they look like, and trying to improve as well. I do want to caveat, I'm not a GeoGuessr pro. I am by no means an expert, but I have spent a lot of this week trying to get to grips with the bollards, and also I'll, for the large part, just be reading out what they've got over on Plunkett as well. So apologies if I make any mistakes. This is just to try and improve my own learning and hopefully help you out as well. If it does help, make sure to subscribe. So yes, presentation by me, GeoRaptor, graphics from Plunkett. I'll link all of this down below. I'll also try to remember to link this actual presentation down below so that you can use it for yourselves as well. So I've tried to group them either by the design of the bollard or, for the most part, geographically, just in case you get a general vibe like I think this is the Nordics. I've tried to group them by that. So the first two that I want to discuss is Iceland and Faroe Islands. I'm going to move almost from the west over to the east of Europe. The reason I put these two together, obviously you can sometimes get them confused. They are quite close together geographically, but they are also the only two bollards that are completely yellow. So Iceland in particular, if you are spawned on a rural road in Iceland and that's where you pop up, you will almost definitely see the yellow bollards. It is such an easy win. So they are bright yellow and they have a white reflector at the top. So do not forget those. The Faroe Island ones, I haven't seen them as often, but you can see them. They are wooden, they are painted yellow. You can also have the red on the top as well. These are slightly less common. Definitely if you're going to look at one of these and remember one of them, it is those Icelandic bollards. Then moving on to the UK, Scotland, Ireland. I know Scotland is part of the UK, of course, but they do have their own specific ones. The UK bollard does pop up if you're on quite a rural road. It's also very recognisable in Europe. There aren't many bollards that look like it. You've got the black with the red as the reflector on the top. Do be careful with a lot of these bollards. We'll talk about the colour red, but for lots of them, that's the front of the bollard, and sometimes you won't be able to see the front of the bollard, so do be careful. I think you can also see this in like Indonesia or one of the Asian countries, but in terms of Europe, you shouldn't be, at this stage, even if you're a beginner, you shouldn't be confusing the two too often. This is definitely a UK bollard. In Scotland, they actually do have a unique bollard that looks a bit like the French bollard. So it's white, it's quite thick, and at the top it's kind of rounded, and then it has red that wraps all the way around, or grey on the back. That is quite similar to the French one, but the French bollard has this kind of pencil top, whereas you can see here, this is quite rounded. When we look at the French bollard in a second, it will make more sense, but just be careful that you don't see this, immediately think it's the French one, and confuse the top of it. In Ireland, I've actually not seen these too often, but Plunkett says that you can get these green and white bollards, and if you're doing a 50-50 between the UK and Ireland, and in all fairness, I'm from the UK, and I often get the two mixed up if we're on rural roads, the green bollards here that you can see here, they might be helpful, but yeah, I've not seen them too much in my limited playtime on GeoGuessr. Andorra, Spain, Portugal. Andorra, you might think, I don't really care. Andorra's not going to pop up very often. It actually does pop up quite a lot as a country on GeoGuessr for me. So what you've got is this kind of wedge-shaped bollard here, and it has an orange reflector, and it's mainly seen when you're on kind of big highways. So if you're on a big highway that looks a bit like Spain, and you see this bollard, it could also be Spain, but at least guess towards Andorra. So at least go up to the northern part of Spain, and by all means, obviously, plonk a guess in Andorra as well. But the bollard you'll see for most of Spain is this one here where you have a yellow reflector. And there aren't too many bollards in Europe with that yellow reflector. There are some, so don't automatically go Spain. But again, it's kind of wedge-shaped. It's got this yellow, sometimes a little bit orange, but mainly yellow reflector, and then the two dots on the back as well. And you can also see Plunkett says it is often hollow. You might not be able to see quite here, but if you can get very close to it, the inside of it is almost hollow. So most of them are kind of filled out wedge shape. This has a bit of space inside it. Hopefully you're following so far. Portugal, I do often miss Portugal in all fairness because again, it's another wedge-shaped bollard and you'll see a lot of these bollards do look very similar. The best way for me to know it's Portugal and the times that I've caught it is when it's a very thin bit of white at the top. We're going to discuss some bollards later that don't have any white at the top, but most of the ones that do, you can see here in the Spanish bollard, for example, there's quite a lot of white at the top. This is just a very thin strip. Then you've got the reflector. The reflectors can also be orange. So this is where Andorra, Spain, Portugal, we're looking at very small differences here. But if you see a reflector which looks Spanish, but is quite orange rather than yellow, you might be looking at Portugal instead. I do sometimes confuse these, but I guess if you know that it's Andorra, Spain, or Portugal, you're not going to be too far away. So I wouldn't stress too much. Cool. Moving on to then France, Switzerland, Liechtenstein. Again, I'm going to try and point out to you the ones that are most helpful. And here right now, after the Icelandic one, I would say the French bollard is in the top 5 most useful bollards in the entirety of GeoGuessr, not just in Europe. It comes up so often. Almost any rural French round, you will see this bollard, or at least it feels that way. And there are 2 different types, but as you can see, remember I spoke about that Scottish bollard where it was quite rounded? This is very much like a pencil shape. It's got much more of a tip to the bollard. And most of the ones that you see are this kind of red wraparound, horizontal, thick, like line that wraps around it. But I kept missing this bollard at first because I was looking for the red, and it can be grey. So as long as you see this general shape, quite thick with a pointed top, it doesn't matter it's red, it doesn't matter it's grey, you can see both. Plunkett does say that there are some variations that have a fully red top. I've not seen them too often. But yeah, this for me, I'm going to try and point out the ones because you're not going to remember all of these if you're just starting. But the Icelandic yellow, the French bollard, they're really good to get. Switzerland and Liechtenstein actually have an almost identical bollard, which is the one on the right of the Switzerland picture here, which is rounded at the top and it's just kind of like quite thick and round. I mean, it sounds so sus when we're discussing bollards. It's got the 2 dots on the back and then a reflector. I can't distinguish the difference between them. So if you're a bit unsure if it's Switzerland or Liechtenstein based on the surroundings, maybe just guess towards Liechtenstein in Switzerland. But they both come up. Again, I've been making mistakes though in the past. I'm just looking for this bollard. Switzerland also do quite often have that wedge bollard as well, which again is that sort of very standard European shape. So don't only expect the rounded version. Okay, we're making good progress. Then Denmark, Belgium, Netherlands. Denmark is another, and along with Belgium as well, country that has a yellow reflector on it. Or at least a, they call it, it is a yellow reflector, and then a dark orange strip. So the Danish one is this kind of wedge shape again. The way that you can tell it's Denmark is not only does it have this yellow reflector, but it will usually, is it always? I feel like I've seen it quite often not. Maybe not. It has this orange strip at the top as well. It says you can also find this green variant, but I can't click on that. But yeah, if you see this yellow reflector here and you see a orange or dark orange strip along the top, you're in Denmark. Again, this does pop up quite often. The Belgian bollard, I think they've got 3 types here. So Belgium uses white bollards with a yellow rectangular reflector. I don't feel like I've seen that too often with a white on the back. So you can see here, these 2 here, yellow on the front, white on the back. Looks a little bit shorter. I guess the reflector doesn't look quite as big. And they say that there is a second type of bollard, which again, I've not seen too often, with dark brown and 2 red strips on the top. I feel like with Belgium, there are a lot of other clues that you can go for potentially, which we won't dive into here. But yeah, hope that helps. Belgium and Denmark, you can see yellow reflectors as well. And then the Netherlands have quite a distinctive bollard. However, I have confused this with other ones such as Turkey and Romania, which you'll understand later why. But it's just a simple white bollard with a red reflector. It is so basic. So sometimes if you're like, actually, this could be Netherlands or Belgium, maybe you're confusing the 2 of them. If you can come across a bollard, they are obviously extremely different bollards between the 2 countries. Poland. Poland, I will put in, I'm going to try and name 5 of the best. And I would say Poland, for me, along with the Iceland bollard and the French bollard, is the most useful. For me, the Polish bollard is just really distinctive. It is, again, usually, I think, maybe always, wedge-shaped. So not like the French shape, but kind of this wedge-shaped bollard. And the red wraps all the way around. Normally at this kind of diagonal angle, as you can see here. It has a red reflector on the front, which you usually can't see unless it's perfect quality, maybe like Gem 4. But you can see here, you can see a reflector on the front. And then on the back, it's got the white reflector. And also, bollards often have the numbers on it. So immediately, even if you don't see a number and you just see this red wraparound at that diagonal on a wedge-shaped bollard, then you're in Poland. But especially if you start seeing these numbers as well. I don't actually know what the numbers mean, by the way. Let me know if you know down below. But then you are in Poland. So this, for me, is an absolute banker again. It's one of the ways that I know that I'm in Poland. I've had this once, and I was so confused that I had to Google it. There is an oblast in Ukraine, which is the sort of regions in Ukraine, that has the Polish bollard. I'll try to point that out later when we play GeoGuessr. But yeah, there is a part of Ukraine. But I would, for the large part, just if you see that, you send Poland. Hopefully you're following so far. Germany and Luxembourg. These are very well known in the GeoGuessr community. So they are basically identical bollards. You can see again this wedge shape here with the black wrap around. This kind of the standard European looking bollard. The way that you would distinguish between them, this reflector on the front of the bollard, you can see that, or you can't actually see it on the German one, but in Germany, it will have 2 bolts on it. On Luxembourg, hopefully you can see here, but it's got 3 bolts. You will often genuinely, this has worked for me on maybe, I don't know, probably 10 plus rounds. If you are choosing between the two, and they can look quite similar, especially in rural areas, if it's got 2 bolts, it's Germany. If it's got 3 bolts, it's Luxembourg. And it works, well, it has for me at least, every single time. Obviously, if you can't see the reflector, then you're not going to know. If you just see the 2 dots, then you've not got nothing to go off. But if you can see the reflector, that is an extremely useful one as well. Okay, I would probably put this one. I'm going to put Czechia and Slovakia. I know they're 2 countries, but I would say that this bollard is maybe the 4th, also very important one, because it, again, is so distinctive. It's the 2 double reflectors at that sort of diagonal angle. So you can see here on Czechia and Slovakia, they are basically identical. So you can't narrow it down, I don't think anyway, to which one of the 2 it is. But as soon as you see the 2 double reflectors, you know that you're going to be in Czechia or Slovakia. And obviously they are right next to each other. So that's an extremely useful one to learn as well. In Hungary again kind of have the standard wedge-shaped bollard. They'll typically have a red reflector on the front, and it's quite bright red as well, usually, I believe. We're going to get onto Croatia later, but something to note on the Hungarian bollard is that you do have quite a lot of white space at the top, whereas there are quite a few other ones where there's a little bit less space. So this wedge-shaped one can be in Hungary. Cool. Hopefully I've not misspoken on anything too much. Again, if you're a veteran or a pro and you think I have said anything that's incorrect, let me know down below. And again, massive shout out to Plonkit for these amazing tools. So, Greece. Greece, I have got confused quite often with others. There's 2 things to note in Greece. A lot of the Greek bollards have just been beat up. The amount of rounds I've had where like the top of the Greek bollard has been missing. So just be careful that it might look like there's no white at the top, but it might have just been a bit beat up. But the best way to tell the Greek bollard, again wedge-shaped, but the reflector is basically square. There aren't many countries where you get a square reflector. You can see the Albanian and Italian ones below. Most of the reflectors are kind of like thin rectangle, whereas Greek is square. So that's quite a useful one as well, especially if you are struggling like between, I don't know, Greece and Italy. If you've got a bollard, they're extremely different to look at. We're now going to move on to some of the bollards that have a black top to them. These are, I think there's probably 7 or 8 countries you could be where the top of the bollard is red and the top of the bollard is black with no white on top of it. And that's incredibly useful to at least narrow down your options. The Albanian and Italian bollards are identical. So if you are really struggling, you're like, I've got nothing to go off, but you see this bollard with the black top, the wedge-shaped bollard, and then the thin black red reflector on one side, and then the sort of white reflector on the other side, or grey, you know you're in Italy or Albania. What you can do is just hedge in southern Italy. I've done that a couple of times where it's the closest point between Italy and Albania. Obviously, if you're in northern Italy or something like that, then you might be quite far away. But normally there's a bit of landscape or something else to help you out there. But this is another good one to know. So the first 2 countries with black tops to their reflectors is Albania and Italy. We then move on to 3 other countries. But as you can see by these 3 here, it is quite a distinctive difference because the black tip isn't, or the black top of the bollard isn't as much. And also the reflector isn't inside the bollard. So on Albania and Italy, the reflector's inside it. Whereas on these 3, the reflector is outside. So Austria, Montenegro, and Slovenia can all have that black tip to the bollard, but the reflector will be below it. The only way that I've been able to tell the difference between these here is this Austrian one is normally quite dark red. So if you see a bollard with a black top to it that isn't quite bright, and you think, actually, that looks like really dark, almost at some points like purple or brown, then you're probably going to be in Austria. And again, there are other things that you can look at in the sort of terrain and environment architecture that might help you. And then Montenegro and Slovenia, I would probably get these mixed up quite a lot. It says here, does it say how you can tell the difference? Maybe in Slovenia, it's really bright. Yeah, it sounds like, and it looks like here, I guess, that the Slovenian one is quite bright. But again, Montenegro and Slovenia, you might be able to tell the difference between them based on some other stuff as well. But these are 3 other countries that you can see the black top to the bollard. Cool. North Macedonia, they use 2 types of bollard. Very rarely you'll get this in GeoGuessr anyway. I've probably only had North Macedonia like 3 times in total. But you can see here you've got 2 different types of bollards. I'm not going to go into them too much because I'm not using them too often. But I think they're very similar basically to the Croatian bollard. Remember I said on the Hungarian one, there's a lot more white at the top. That's the only way really, other than other stuff in the round, that you can tell the difference between Croatia and Hungary. And also Lithuania as well has a very similar bollard, as we'll see. But yeah, there's less white at the top of the Croatian bollard. And again, Croatia does normally look a little bit different to Hungary. Serbia has 2 different types of bollard. Serbia can have a bollard that's very similar actually to the Austrian, Montenegrin and Slovenian bollards we saw, where it's got a black top and a red reflector underneath. But you can also see another type of bollard as well, where it's got kind of an off-center reflector. There are a few countries actually that pop up with an off-center reflector, but yes, Serbia is one of them as well. By the way, later on when we play GeoGuessr, hopefully some of this will start to sink in, but you can watch this back a couple of times if you need to. And like I said, I'll link the presentation down below. Moving on then to Romania, Turkey, and Bulgaria. Romania and Turkey have very, very similar bollards. I don't actually know how to tell the difference. Let's see. Romanian bollards are thin and white with a red vertical strip near the top. Again, I think when you turn them sideways, maybe that's the Romanian ones actually. Yeah, I think they're both quite thin. Like if you see the Turkish or Romanian bollards side on, they're very thin. And I think the Turkish one, yeah, in particular, is very, very thin side on. Okay, that would help. So it says here on Plunkett that the Romanian bollards are relatively rare. So I guess if you see a bollard that looks like this, and don't confuse it with the Dutch bollard, by the way, it's got a thinner red reflector, I believe is the difference, then maybe just go Turkey, because it sounds like bollards are quite rare in Romania. That's a good thing to know. In Bulgaria, it also said bollards are quite rare in Bulgaria as well, but you've got this kind of thin, again, bollard with a black strip around it and a red reflector that goes sort of top to bottom of the black strip. So Bulgaria and Romania, maybe if you see bollards, this isn't the best rule of thumb necessarily, but maybe you look to guess at some other countries. Cool. In terms of the Nordics, these are actually really useful and something which I hadn't learned until recently, and I still need to try and ingrain in my mind, because there are other stuff you can look at, like center lines, the dashed lines on the outside, the general scenery, snow poles, but sometimes it can be difficult to discern between them. So Norway uses this thin curved rectangular bollard with a reflector inside of a black parallelogram. I mean, that is a posh sentence there, but you can see here, this is the black parallelogram and the reflector is inside of it. Again, hopefully we get a couple of Norwegian bollards later that we can look at. Sweden bollards are black and white again, typically with a grey reflector. Reflectors by intersections can be orange. So maybe if you see an orange reflector near an intersection, go Sweden. And they can be either wedge-shaped or thin and curved. I often get these confused with the Estonian bollards, and I'll probably do that today. For me, the Finnish, Swedish, and Estonian bollards, these round ones, they all look quite similar. Finland has long black and white bollards with a rectangular white reflector on the front and 2 dots on the back. They can either be round or thin and curved. You can actually see it here on the bottom left, this kind of thin curved shape to it. These are some of, at least for me, you might find it easy, but these are some of, for me, the most difficult to try and tell the difference between. But again, normally you might have some other clues as well. Moving on then to the Baltics, we have Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. This is one of the better ways to actually tell the difference between them, because the bollards usually are quite different. So Estonian bollards are round and baton-like shape, so they're kind of like a tube. I remember I watched a zigzag video with Jack where he was talking about the best way to remember this is that there is an O in Estonia and the Estonian bollard is like a tube. Again, that might not help you massively, but it has helped me on a couple of occasions. The Latvian one is thin, has that slightly curved shape as well. We'll have the reflector on the front and then the 2 orange dots on the back. But I think the only real difference then between the two is the actual shape of the bollard. So hopefully you can get a bit of an idea when you look at that. The Lithuanian bollard is very different to the Estonian and Latvian, though. The Estonian and Latvian ones, you can get confused quite a lot. The Lithuanian one stands out. It's wedge-shaped, almost looks a bit like the Hungarian bollard, with an orange reflector. That's probably the easiest way that you would tell the difference. Cool, that's the Baltics. And then just to finish up on this section before we then move on to actually playing some GeoGuessr, I couldn't find anything in the Plunkett guide on Ukrainian bollards. So I got this from another site, I can't remember. You don't see Ukrainian bollards that often, but when you do, it's kind of a very standard wedge shape. You can see here they say very similar to those in, or at least it has a wider rectangle than those in Hungary, Bulgaria, Croatia, and North Macedonia. But it's a very similar one. Like, unless you are right up close and you've absolutely nailed the bollards, it will look very similar. But if you see Cyrillic or if you see a general environment which fits Ukraine, then that could help. And then just finishing with Russia, we have, if I haven't already said the fifth most helpful one, is actually not the bollard necessarily, but the bollard span. If you are in an area which looks like it could be Russia, and near an intersection, you just see an obscene number of bollards, you're in Russia. And this is almost always accurate. The amount of times this has bailed me out and I don't know where I am, and I just look to the side and there are tons of bollards, you're probably in Russia. You can see here on this bottom image, they just put loads of them there. In terms of the actual bollards that you see, there are 3 different types here. I believe this one on the left is seen more in like Siberia, Eastern Russia. So if you see you can see this stick here. It's a wedge-shaped one, but it's attached to a really thin stick. If you see that, you would opt towards Eastern Russia. Again, though, with Russia, it's less about bollards for me. It's just more about like you get a general vibe that you're in Russia normally. And I am very bad at region guessing in Russia. So there we go. I think I've got most of the European countries. I know I missed a few off there. Malta, Cyprus, Andorra, places like that, but not Andorra. Monaco, San Marino, Vatican. But I think for the most part, that's the main countries with the bollards. I'll link this presentation down below. Check out Plunkett if you want to look into a specific country in particular. Let's now go over to GeoGuessr, play a few games and show you what this looks like in action. So guys, we're jumping over to GeoGuessr to basically play a few rounds now. We'll just play for kind of 20, maybe 30 minutes or so and just try and ingrain in our minds those bollards. I am not perfect by any means. In fact, about a week ago I was pretty terrible, but hopefully me making that presentation, also going through it there, hopefully I've started to improve and we'll get a decent amount. A massive bit of advice I have to you is to make the most of a learnable meta. So this is basically like a script extension plugin that you can download. I'll link it down below. You download it, and when you play any map that says like a learnable meta, it pops up after each round with a little box which tells you what you should have been looking out for, the meta that was there. And this map actually here is a learnable meta Europe bollards. So we are going to every single time spawn in front of a bollard, and after I've either got it right or wrong, it will pop up telling us exactly what we just learnt from Plunkett as well. So hopefully this will go quite well, and again I'll link it down below. But yeah, if you type in just a learnable anything, you can see that there are loads of different variations, but this is the one we're going to do today. Of course, we're going to be using no move because we shouldn't be looking around. We just want to look at the bollards, and I'm not going to set a time limit because I just want to play GeoGuessr and hopefully help you out. So, oh no. Okay, so, okay, we can see it there. I was going to say, I think this is the Turkish bollard. I know at first you can't really see anything, but it's quite thin, and you can see that's the back of it, but you can actually see the red here. Now, could that be a Romanian bollard? Yeah, but I look around, and this certainly looks more like Turkey. In terms of where in Turkey, I guess it doesn't matter where in Turkey, but I'll go somewhere that's not green. Okay, it wasn't the best region guessing in Turkey, but yes, it was indeed. And you can see this is what happens when you play these learnable meta worlds. It's so incredibly useful. It will pop up like this with the meta. So again, we got the first one right. That's what we love to see. Okay. Immediately, I'll zoom in on it. I'll give you a chance. I won't say straight away. I think that should be the Spanish bollard. We've got the yellow reflector. You can again see just in the top there, we've got the hollow center, the 2 lines in the back. You see often in Portugal and in Spain, maybe some other countries as well, but you can see it's attached to the guardrail as well. You see that quite a lot. And I mean, also, you shouldn't just look at the bollard ever. Look around. It kind of feels pretty Spanish. So where are we going to guess? I'll go in and around like Madrid way. I'll go over here. Okay, a terrible region guess once again. And as they said on the Plunkett guide, if it was the different bollard, you might guess towards Andorra. Perfect. The first few rounds I'll take quite slow, and then maybe we'll go through a few quicker, see if we can just get them straight away. Is that the Romanian or the Netherlands one? I mean, let's have a look round. Yellow plate. So we're in the Netherlands. Yellow plates I think you can see in Netherlands, Belgium, maybe Denmark. I mean, this isn't a video about the number plates, but yeah, it fits. So that's the Netherlands, I believe. Right, yeah, can't be Belgium, so we'll send in the Netherlands, and we'll just send up somewhere around here. Cool. We've not done very good region guessing, but that was in fact the Dutch bollard. This is how you do it, by the way. It's just like recognition, like repetition, I should say. Right, I'll zoom in on that one. I'll give you a second. We said there was two things here. So this is the Polish bollard. You can see the red wrapping around it, the 6, the numbers as well. It always seems to be the number 6. I'm sure it isn't, but yeah, you can see the number there, the red wrap around. Is there any way that this is that random Ukrainian oblast? I bet it is now. I'm going to obviously send in Poland. If it is the Ukrainian one, then it will be a good point. Okay, no, it was. Okay, that was a better region guess as well. So that was the Polish bollard. Cool. I mean, immediately, that looks like an English sign, doesn't it? What is this? Hello, what do we have here? Is that the Scottish bollard? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, you've got 2 bollards here. This is fantastic. So, I was going to say, it looks like the French one, right? If you just look at that, that could be the French one, especially that. But the top isn't that pencil shape. Remember, we spoke about this. This is the Scottish bollard here with the rounded top. Grey on the back, red on the front. But then also, that is the standard UK bollard. So, we're going to send in Scotland. The loft, I don't know where that is. We'll just send... we'll send over here. Okay, it was kind of, not really. Okay, perfect. 20,000 on our first attempt. That's not bad at all. We got all 5, did we? Yeah, all 5 pretty spot on. I mean, a couple of better region guesses in Turkey and Spain, and we could have been on for a really nice score. Awesome. Let's go again. Right. Immediately, zoom over here. So, I think that, and it kind of fits the environment, I think that's the Lithuanian bollard. Remember, it kind of looks a bit like a lot of the other ones you find in Hungary, Croatia, Spain, but very notably orange. And I think the notably orange is probably Lith. And it kind of, again, fits with the general scenery, the road. I'm not confident on this one, but I'm going to send in Lithuania. And I'm just going to go on this road here. Wasn't that road, but it was very close, 44 kilometers. Okay, let's try and get a good score, actually. We might be able to get into the top 25 if we absolutely like nail all 5 of the guesses. By the way, we've not missed a single country yet. That's 6 on the bounce, I think. Right, again, Polish. I know this is going to be quite repetitive. Maybe we won't do quite as long as I said, but it's good. You got the red wrap around the numbers. Again, this could be the random place in Ukraine, but we look over here, you'd see more Cyrillic around, I think. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good for Poland. And I'm going to send it down here this time. No, where am I going to send it? Let's try and actually have a good guess. I don't know. I'm really bad at region guessing. Let's just send in my lots. Right in the middle. Okay, that wasn't a bad... I tell you what, we are on for one here. Oh, no. Right, why am I looking around? That's the bollard. What bollard is that? Is that a weird variation of... Do you reckon that could be... Oh, I've probably forgotten a bollard here. What? You're shouting at me now. You're shouting at me saying, Ross, this was meant to be a complete guide. You've got to know your bollards. I kind of want to bring up my presentation and look now, but I'm not going to. Is it... No, it doesn't look Serbian, does it? I was going to say, is it Serbia? There were a few countries that had various ones. Or is this just... I'm going to look... Oh, if that... There's Cyrillic there? Or is that the Bulgarian? No, well, no, I'm gonna go Serbia. Oh, it was North Macedonia. You know the one where I said there's no need to learn that? It doesn't come up too often. Okay, the North Macedonian one. It's this one on the left. In all fairness, I hadn't really committed that to memory. I'm going to commit that to memory. Round with a black bit in the middle and then the red reflector in it. Okay, North Macedonia. We were in the general right vibe, though. We saw the Cyrillic, which helps. Cool. Awesome. Not too bad. Bit sad to lose the streak, but it is what it is. So it was going so well. We've got the bollard with black at the top and then an orange kind of almost square reflector in it. I'm looking around for some other clues because I don't know. Black at the top, so Albania. but it's not the Albanian one because the Albanian and Italian ones look the same. We then had... Not the Albanian one. Other ones with black at the top would be... I don't know. With the... I've forgotten my complete guide already. Guys, we're falling apart here. I look around. Do you reckon like Balkans again? Black top to it. It's probably like one of these. Do you reckon that is the Serbian one? Or is that Slovenia? No. No, it's not Slovenia. I reckon we might be in... I'm going to go Serbia again. Back-to-back Serbia guesses. Italian bollard. It for sure didn't look like the Italian bollard, did it? The reflector looked insane there. Maybe on this part of Italy? Interesting. I ruled out Italy pretty quick, in all fairness. Uh-oh. Oh, guys, we're falling apart. We were just on it. We were just slamming back guesses here. Okay. This bollard here, I'll tell you what bollards it could be in my mind. This could be the Nordics or the Baltics. In fact, it probably is, right? This is probably the thin... I reckon Latvia. So, I think this is the one that looks like Latvia and Estonia and also a bit like Sweden and Finland. But it's not like... I think you can see it's almost like rounded and thin, whereas the Estonian one is more like a tube. I'm just chatting nonsense at this stage, I think, aren't I? Is this Latvia? Do you know what? Confident. It was Latvia. It was Latvia. Go on. Let's do this. We're learning the bollards. That wasn't too bad. It was still 19-1, but it started incredibly well. Those first couple of guesses were spot on. So the only real terrible guess there was Serbia when it was actually Italy. In all fairness, it didn't look like Serbia much. I just didn't think that looked like the Italian bollard. Okay. Here we go. So you look at the scenery and you think, you know, you're in Faroe Islands or Iceland, and it's the wooden one, which I've not actually seen out in the wild. I believe this is the Faroe Islands. Or is it? Or is this the Icelandic one? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I can't tell, actually. I need to get better at like understanding the scenery of Faroe Islands and Iceland, in all fairness, but it's probably the Icelandic one. Actually, that's Iceland, I think. We'll just send it. It might not be. It was Faroe Islands. For goodness sake. Trust yourself, Ross. Faroe Islands bollards are small wooden sticks that are mainly painted yellow and sometimes red on top. Okay, they looked wooden. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we got the general vibe. I said these are the ones that you've got to learn, and then I just don't learn them. UK bollards. Where are we in the UK? Should we region guess? Oh, Brimfield. I know where Brimfield is. Upton. Middleton on the Hill. Oh, we're somewhere down here. Doesn't really matter, does it? We weren't anywhere near there. Goodness me, we're falling apart. Okay. Is this the exact round that we had before? Is this a repeat? Is this the same Lithuania? Do you remember where we were in Lithuania? Was it somewhere over here? No, it wasn't. It was down there. Okay. Yeah, that was the Lithuanian bollard. Okay, that was a repeat. I mean, have we got another Scottish bollard? I'm sure the Scottish bollards don't pop up this much in actual GeoGuessr. Yeah, I mean, we're driving on the left. Immediately, you know you're not in France, then you're in Scotland. I don't know where in Scotland. I'm going to go right near... Find Scotland, Ross. I'm going to go right near... I'm going to go here. Terrible guess. Right. Oh. Is this the Turkish Romanian looking bollard? Or is this the Netherlands? For goodness sake. Is the one, like I said, I'm so scarred from getting this obviously isn't the Netherlands, right? Surely not. I'm so scarred I guessed the Netherlands when it was a Turkish bollard. They looked a little bit similar. Okay, could it be Romania? Could this be... I don't really know what Romania looks like, to be honest. I'll guess Turkey. Apo by Ankara. It was Romania. Okay. Yeah, it says Turkey has a very similar bollard. I'm really not sure how you would discern, unless you just know the landscapes really well. It looked more Turkey to me than it did Romania, but that's fine. There might have been a pole or something I could have used. That was a weak effort. The Iceland Faroe Islands one was terrible. What other ones didn't I like there? In fact, nah, I lied. That was the only bad one. But again, they're both yellow. We got the general vibe. Okay, this is a repeat. Where was it? I think there are 400 locations in this, by the way. We shouldn't really be getting repeats. Was it up? It was up, like, somewhere around here, wasn't it? I should have looked at the exact location. Okay. It wasn't anywhere where I thought. Nice. Ooh, okay. No, I know this. I know this from learning before. So that is the Spanish bollard, right? Remember, with the yellow reflector. I'm sure the green bit is like region specific to somewhere down here. I remember doing this like yeah, I'm sure. So that is, yeah, that is the Spanish bollard. And then I think the green bit, I mean, it will tell us in a second, but I feel like it was specific to somewhere down here. Extra Madeira. Is that like this area here? In the region of Extra Madeira, I should know where Extra Madeira is, really. Is it a very specific place, or is that like this? Anyway, down there. Guess in Western Spain if you get the green bit on top of the yellow bollard. Goodness me, we're falling apart. Okay, we've got the black tip, and I don't know what language there. Does that look very dark red? I mean, these, yeah, it looks dark red. So is this Austria? Do you remember what I said, that it could obviously be any of the countries with that bollard, but if it's very dark, we go Austria. But it's not very mountainous, I don't think. I mean, I can't really see. I'm saying it's not mountainous. I'm in the middle of a forest. Okay, it was Austria, just not too close. But yeah, here we go. So it's the same as Slovenia and Montenegro, but the reflector is darker. Nice. We carry on going. Okay, so this is the Switzerland and Liechtenstein bollard, right? I think. It's this rounded one with the 2 dots on the back. Could I get anything which would help me whether it's Switzerland or Liechtenstein? Probably for most people. I feel like it's more Liechtenstein. Should we just send it in Liechtenstein? I don't get many actual rounds in there. Right here, yeah? Let's just send it in Liechtenstein. I mean, if it is, it's going to be on... Is there a McDonald's? I don't know. Oh! I thought I saw a flag. Ignore me. I mean, it's probably just Switzerland, isn't it? We're sending it... We've committed. We're sending it in Liechtenstein. It was just in Switzerland. Okay. There we go. But you know the bollard at least now. This has been a bit better. We could... Okay, we're in the UK. Right, can we region guess? Is there a sign? Give me a sign that helps me. Billericay. Billericay? That's down in the south. That's down. Billericay. Billericay is in Essex. I'm from Essex originally. It took me a while to get rid of my Essex accent, though. Most people don't know I'm from Essex. What am I doing? Where is Essex? Where is Billericay? Billericay is... I mean, do I care that much? That's a good question. Billericay. Okay, where is Billericay? Billericay is to our southeast. And what is that there? Billericay to our southeast. So we want to... Where's my... Oh no, I lost Billericay. Oh, there. So we want to go somewhere up here. What is the road direction? If you double click the letter N, by the way, if you're on no move, it will tell... I mean, I'm not going to find this. We're at an intersection. Okay, we were 2 kilometers away. We'll take that. That was a decent score. 22,600. How much do we need to get to be on this leaderboard for no move? 23,400. Should we go a couple more rounds, see if we can get another good one? And again, it's just like repeating. Repetition is half of GeoGuessr, in all honesty. We nearly got in the top 25k there. We weren't far off. Okay, let's go again. Oh, damn. Okay, so it's not Albania because it's bright. Is this Slovenia then, or Montenegro? I think I get more of a Montenegro vibe, I think. Are they the two that it could be? So I think this here... I mean, I created a presentation on it. I should know. I think that is Austria, Montenegro, or Slovenia. But landscape maybe more Montenegrin. I don't really... In all fairness, don't even know what Slovenia looks like. If this is... I'm going to be very sad if it's Slovenia. I'll tell you that much for free. Right, we'll rattle through this because we're not going to do anything now. Is that Turkey? Thin bollard. Can't see from the side. Could be Romania. Could be Turkey. We'll go Turkey. Spain. In Aragon, it is sometimes common to see this bollard. What? Aragon? Since when? Do you know what? I should have ended it after... What? Are we in Iceland or Faroe Islands? No, I mean, it doesn't look like either. Where the hell are we? Oh, this is obviously Iceland, right? I swear to God, if this is the Faroe Islands, I'm not playing games. I'm not playing games. Good, Iceland. We're in Iceland. Okay. We've lost our heads. We've lost our heads. Where's my bollard? You can't spawn me where there's not a bollard. Excuse me? Hello? They're just trying to mess with me now. Where on earth are we? I'm not playing normal GeoGuessr in this. This wasn't the point of the video. I'm not just playing GeoGuessr for the fun of it. That's not what we're doing here. I don't know why why'd I look at the sun? I know what hemisphere we're in. This is a European map. I mean, it's very pretty. Am I going blind? You're going to say in the comments, Ross, it was in front of you. Where is said bollard? Right, I don't know. Does it look Balkan? Somewhere down here? Madeira, right. That wasn't on my thing. Was that wasn't in my presentation. For goodness sake. We should have ended it when we were feeling good. Oh, here we go. The Czechia-Slovakia bollard. Okay. We've got a 50-50. Based on how it's been going for the rest of this section, I'm going to get it wrong. We're going to go Slovakia. Oh, that was a good guess, actually. Okay, remember, we've just absolutely lost our heads now, but the two red dots is going to be Czechia or Slovakia. That was terrible. Right, we want to end at least on a good one. Oh, God. Is this going to be... Is this Italy or Albania again? I don't know the tip. Oh, God. We're falling apart. Could it be anything else? I thought the Italian and Albanian reflector wasn't a square. Can you not see two? The Italian and Albanian plates have blue at the end. Oh, wow. We probably are supposed to know what that is. We should probably know what that is, shouldn't we? Do you reckon we're looking... What are we looking at? We're looking northeast at a huge mountain. In Albania, are any of these like icy-looking mountains? Do you reckon we're like here? We're on a road that's going east. We're probably not even in this country. I don't know why I'm spending so long looking at this. Oh, it is the Greek bollard because it's square. We're falling apart. Okay, Greek bollard is like that. Oh my God. Of course it's not Albania or Italy. It's not. Okay, I've lost my mind. It wouldn't have had white at the top. Okay, we need to focus up here. The wouldn't have had the white at the top. It would have been all the way black to that. We've just lost our minds. It's gone. Absolute head loss. Absolute head loss. We've just had this exact round. Where was it? Somewhere here. Okay, good. We're complete. Oh my God. I said I need to remember it. North Macedonia. Was that the North Macedonian one or was that the Serbian one? Oh, it's just all going terribly now. Is that Serbia or North Macedonia? North Macedonia. It's the North Of course it is. It's the North Macedonian one, you know? It's that road there. Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. I want to do another one after this. No one's probably even watching at this stage. That is a classic Estonia, I think. Got the two yellow dots on the back, but it doesn't look thin, right? That looks like a proper tube. Looks tubular, cylindrical. We're going to send it. We're going southwest in Estonia. A road going southwest. Do we have any hills or anything? No, quite a big road going southwest. Put driving on the right. So it's like, oh God, do you know what? I'm just gonna, it's this road here. Here we go. Oh, it was actually that road. Wow. Check us out. I mean, we were not on the right bit of the road. That's funny. Oh, goodness me. This could have gone so... Oh, Billericay. We're getting repeats. The point of the video isn't to get repeats, but it's the UK. Okay, Billericay. Where was it? It was here. It was here. I didn't look where we were. We were 2 kilometers away. I think I guessed... I can't remember where I guessed last time. Oh, I don't know. We're 8 kilometers away now. We got so much worse. Oh, that was... Okay. I'm going to send one more. I'm going to do it quick, though. Hopefully we just get all repeats and I just smash it. Is that orange? Is that the Lith one? I can't really tell. Does look very orange. Does this look like Lithuania? Could be, for sure. Do we just send it in Lith? It's this road here, classic, you know. Oh, it wasn't far away. Okay, I'm feeling good. I don't know. Is this the Romanian one? This is going to be some sort of random country that I didn't even include, and like some random bollard. Is this the Dutch one, or is this the... I should just look around. Doesn't look like any of the above. I mean, it could be the Netherlands. Could it also be Romania or Turkey? Yeah, sure. I don't know. Haven't visited enough of Europe, clearly. Ah, this is a classic Romanian forest. Yeah. You know, the classic Romanian forest you get. Oh, it's this one here. Yeah, it's that one. No, it's too many. Yeah, oh, it's that Romanian forest there. Belgium. Oh, wait, what? Wait, what? That's yellow. It is kind of... I mean, now you mention it, it is kind of yellow. Yeah, okay. Fair. We shouldn't have done the extra game. We've fallen apart. That's the Turkish one, or the Romanian one. And this is a classic. Yeah, just sending it straight in Ankara, you know? Bang. That road there. Oh, God, it's the opposite side of Turkey. Oh, this is Albania. It's classic Albania, you know? It's this road in Albania. Yeah, sure, this one. Yeah, just here. Goodness me. Hopefully this video has been out. Oh, the Faroe Islands. Do you know what? We should be able to get this. We are going... Okay, like northwest. There's a big bit of river and then... Okay. Faroe Islands. We are going northwest. Do you know what? I don't care. Okay, I was up there. I'm overestimating my ability here. Right, do you know what? We'll leave it there. But if you do want to check out any of the stuff that I spoke about today, I'll link down below the presentation that I... Basically, like I say, I took all of the information from Plonket and just put it all together in a way that was hopefully useful for you. So if you want to check out Plonket, I'll link Plonket. If you want to check out my presentation, I'll try to find a way to be able to share that with you as well. I'll also try to remember to leave the link down below. But if not, just type in a learnable meta and just download the script if you want. And it's super useful. Like I say, there are just so many different maps that you can do. I was doing the other day, what was it? Oh, a learnable Russia. Like there are loads out there. So yeah, check them all out. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching at this point and you found it helpful and or entertaining, please do smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. It really supports me as a smaller channel. But until next time, thank you very much. Bye-bye.